Hey Husky community, welcome to another episode of 60 Formula. Hope you're doing well today. Hey little miss thing, you want to balance some treats on your nose? Are you smart enough to do that stuff? She's like, bro, I'm smart enough to do any old trick. Go ahead, bring it on, bro. I'm gonna put this little cheddar biscuit right on your little snoot. All right, dude? Okay? And you gotta keep it there. And when I say go, then you can have it, all right? High five? All right, let's do it. Let's do it, broski. All right, first you take thy cheddar biscuit and carefully put it on your dog's snoot. But let them know this is not for right now, little itty bitty husky. This is for your snoot. Stay. Good girl. 1, 2, go. Oh, that was so close.
That was so close, bro. You almost had it.
Come on, you gotta give a round of applause to your sister, right? That was some pretty good, trickage. Hey, Gila, can you do me a favor? Can you spin?
Yeah, you can, broski. That's what's up.
On today's episode, we're going to be talking about Siberian Huskies. More specifically, we're going to be talking about Littermate Syndrome and separation anxiety. If you're thinking about getting a Siberian Husky or you already got one, maybe you're thinking about getting dos Siberian Husky, 2 of them, it is possible you may run into the problem of Littermate Syndrome. That's when one Husky becomes insanely codependent on the other, basically needs the other Husky in their life, and when you separate the two of them, they become very, very upset, very, very sad. Yeah, that guy right there. So it's really important to address these kinds of issues. What happens whenever one of your Huskies starts freaking out when the other Husky isn't around? Or if you have just one Husky at home, what happens when you leave and they start freaking out because you're not around anymore? Today we're going to be talking about all of that and what to do, because it's super important to know exactly how to handle whenever a Siberian Husky is freaking out because you're not at home or they're not close to their best friend. And besides, Siberian Huskies are like way too cute to have them be depressed and sad all the time. So let's go ahead and learn all the different things that you can do to fix any situations where your Husky feels separation anxiety or may have a tad bit of Littermate Syndrome. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? You ready to do the episode? All right, bro, let's totally do it. Let's get into the episode. So come with us, will you, on another episode of 60 Formula, where we find out all about Littermate Syndrome and separation anxiety in Siberian Huskies. Are you ready? Let's do it. Oh my god! We got a nose poop at a healer! It's a brand new world, it's a brand new day. Alright, so Siberian Huskies are your dog of choice. You're thinking, hey, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get 2 of them because they're absolutely the cutest. Plus, I think that 2 Huskies together will work really well because one won't get so lonely whenever I'm at work. This is a totally reasonable way of thinking because, if you have one dog, you're going to work all the time, you're thinking, hey, I'm putting them in the cage back there. They're probably gonna get lonely if they're sitting at home all the time. Well, if I get myself a second Husky, that'll probably fix the problem, right? Because whenever I'm at work and they're at home alone, they'll have each other, and that'll be a much better life for both of my Huskies. Now, at first, this sounds amazingly awesome because, you never want an animal to be alone or by themselves. Being able to have Huskies have friends is the best lifestyle for them because, well, when you have friends, you feel happy at home, right? But there is something called Littermate Syndrome, and it's something that dogs, especially Siberian Huskies, can develop whenever there are only 2 of them. Now, what Littermate Syndrome is it basically means that when your 2 Huskies come together, whenever you have 2 dogs, they become really comfortable with each other, they start to spend a lot of time together, and they develop roles. Siberian Huskies especially develop roles at early ages. So Britney Spears here, he's the beta between him and Gila. And Gila, she's the alpha between her and Britney Spears. But because of this, whenever they are apart, Gila, she doesn't mind so much. She's like, well, since I'm the alpha, I'm in control, I'm the leader, it's not such a big deal whenever I don't have Britney Spears around. But if Britney Spears is left alone without Gila, if we take Gila out of the equation entirely, he gets very, very sad, very, very upset. He starts whining, he starts pacing all around. In fact, I planned on doing it for this video just to show you guys what happens when Britney Spears is separated from Gila, but I just don't feel like stressing him out like that. I don't want to make him feel upset. He doesn't go irate. He's not insane, but he's clearly stressed whenever he does not have his sister. And this is what we define as Littermate Syndrome. Now, you may have 2 Huskies or 2 dogs at home that exhibit this type of behavior, and if they do, rest assured there is a way to wean them off of this behavior and make them feel a little bit more comfortable whenever they don't have their best bud around. One thing I like to do with Britney Spears, because he's the one that gets mega stressed whenever Gila's not around, is I take Gila to daycare. Now you'd think, why don't you take Britney Spears to daycare? But I actually do the opposite. What I do is I take Gila to daycare, or I let her go hang out at a friend's house. And this way, whenever Gila's out socializing, making friends, hanging out, being a bully on the playground, I can keep Britney Spears at home and we can learn all new tricks, because typically whenever you're trying to teach a Siberian Husky a trick and there's another dog in the situation, in the equation, they start competing and making a lot of mistakes. So it's a really good idea to get one-on-one time training your dog, get that focus in, get that one-on-one time, my brother. Am I right? Well, bam! It's like, dude, don't touch my footsie. So while Gila is at daycare, what I do is I get Britney Spears mega comfortable. When I go in the car and I take Gila to daycare, he does get very uncomfortable. He gets very stressed. But after about 20 minutes, he calms down. He chills out. He forgets that it's a stressful situation. And this is the best time to work with your dog and let them know, like, hey, it's okay when your buddy ain't around. Are you playing with a pig? Are you playing with that piggy? I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. Yeah, typical Husky, playing with a pig. Now, you won't always have to do this. You won't always have to pay for daycare and separate your Huskies all the time. But in the beginning, if you do have a problem with anxiety and both your dogs are freaking out because they're not together, it's a good idea to separate them for a little bit. And one of the healthiest ways to do that is just take your other dog to a friend's house so they can socialize with other dogs, and take advantage of that time so you can train your other dog to do some cool tricks. All right, you ready to deal with the separation anxiety?
You want to tackle that discussion?
Yeah, that's what's up. All right, so let's talk about separation anxiety, something that Siberian Huskies typically and tend to get a lot. Since Siberian Huskies love you so much and they have really crazy interactive personalities, when you leave them alone, when you isolate them, they tend to have insane anxiety. Now, this doesn't apply to all Siberian Huskies, only some of them, but if you do have this issue, I'm gonna tell you exactly what you can do to remedy it. So you might have a Husky and you're like, I gotta go to work. It's time for me to go and get up and do stuff, dog. Well, you go, hey, Gila, up, come on. Cage. Get in the cage. Good girl. Now, a lot of Siberian Huskies, when they're in this situation, they start getting really antsy, nervous, freaking out. Not Gila. She gets really comfy. That's because she does not suffer from separation anxiety. All right, so separation anxiety is caused when your dog or your Siberian Husky is really stressed, depressed, or concerned because they're not around you. Separation anxiety is different from Littermate Syndrome because they're not concerned about where the other doggo is. They're concerned about where you are. There are also ways to remedy this, but it is a little bit harder and it takes a little bit more patience. What you're gonna have to do is start to separate yourself from your dogs, leaving your dogs isolated in a room for a very, very short period of time, and I'm talking seconds, and then progressing that training until you get to leaving your dog alone in a room for a couple of minutes. Once you're able to do that, try introducing them to a crate or a cage and see if they're able to stay in the crate or the cage for a couple of seconds and move it on to minutes as well. You can also continue this by moving yourself outside and letting your dog sit inside for a couple of seconds, moving that onto a couple minutes. And the more you progress, the more you practice, because practice makes perfect, your Siberian Husky is going to become more and more comfortable without you in the room. So I'm going to show you an example of exactly how you can practice overcoming separation anxiety with your Siberian Husky. Let's go ahead and try a couple practices right now. So what you want to go ahead and do is find a room where, it's just a door like this, you and your Husky standing right between the entrance of the door. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a high value treat like this. This is a wheat thin, and I'm going to say, hey bro, if you stay in this room for a couple of seconds with the door closed, I'll give you a treat. So we're going to take the door, we're going to close it, and you don't even have to close it all the way. Just do this and then open it up immediately. And if they're not freaking out, Go ahead and reward him. Good job. That was such a good job, bro. You didn't cry. You didn't freak out. You were able to sit in this room for just 1 second. And as you practice this, and you need to practice it a lot, you can start to close the door, leave your dog in there for a couple seconds, open it back up, and if they're cool, if they're not freaking out, that's when you reward them. Good boy!
That's a good boy, dude. You did such a good job, dude.
He's like, thanks, Daddy-o. So that's all you really got to do. Keep increasing that time that you and your Husky are away from each other, that have that barrier between you. Increase the time that you keep that door closed each time, and it's going to teach your Husky that the longer that they are comfortable being without you, the bigger the treat, the better the treat that they're going to get. Be sure to reinforce each time that they're comfortable in that room without you with hugs, kisses, and very high value treats like turkeys or their favorite cracker. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. So that's a little bit of information and what you can do about Littermate Syndrome and separation anxiety in Siberian Huskies. If you guys have any questions about it, if you have any concerns, maybe you have a special situation, go ahead and leave it in the comments down below. We'll be sure to hit you back up and give you any information that you might need. We appreciate you watching, and we had a blast today hanging out with Britney Spears and Gila. They did such a good job. Can I get a handshake, bro?
Good job, sir. You did such a good job. Thank you so much for working for 64 Minute Productions.
If you had a good time, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe so you don't miss any more Huskaroni Pizza episodes. And we'll see you next time with another episode of guess what? Yup, you guessed it, whatever we make. Peace! Can I get a paw? Yeah.